Has this ever happened to you? Oh, look at this container of cookies I found in the hallway closet next to the laundry room at Grandma's house. Can't wait to eat these cookies. What? Sewing supplies? It's happened to the best of us ever since 1966 in the village of Helsingør. I'm going to mispronounce a lot of things. This is the Royal Dansk tin of cookies. Prior to Royal Dansk putting their cookies in tins, cookies were served in cardboard boxes or paper bags. But the company decided that a blue reusable tin would keep their cookies fresh longer than the competition. But why did people stop putting sewing supplies in here? Well, the truth is, sewing kits were actually kind of a fancy item, and your average person couldn't afford one and certainly wouldn't spend the money on one. So this was a way to take something that you would otherwise throw away and reuse it. Now, earlier I said that cookies used to be sold in cardboard boxes and paper bags, but that's still true today of every single type of cookie except for Danish butter cookies. For some reason, the Danish butter cookies are always sold in a tin. This is the familiar package. On the bottom, you've got the different types of cookies. You've got their name across the middle, and then on the top, you have a farmhouse that is in the town of Foyen, which is spelled Funnen, and the name of this farmhouse is that of Jens Stavensgaard. Foyen is an island. It is the third largest island in Denmark, making it the 165th largest island in the entire world. Over 450,000 people live in Foyen, and the actual landmass takes up 3,099 square feet. It's beautiful. It's like a fairy tale come to life. The most famous person ever born in Foyen was Hans Christian Andersen. He was a well-respected author who you know several of his works: The Emperor's New Clothes, Thumbelina, and The Little Mermaid. Now, there have been other notable people from Foyen, including this guy, Hans Christian Fabigger. Now, he lived almost 100 years before Hans Christian Andersen. He was born there, but he moved over to what became the United States, where he was a close confidant of General George Washington during the Revolutionary War. They called him Old Denmark, and after the Revolutionary War, he went on to become the treasurer of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Today, Foyen has a lot of pride for this Christian Eriksen. He's a soccer player or footballer. Here's a picture of this place. It's apparently a museum farm, so you can go there and visit it. It has 2 reviews on Travelocity. Niels J. Langclyde says, very interesting farm. He visited in September of 2019. This homestead farm gives a good picture of life in the countryside in earlier times. The buildings are extremely well maintained, so there must be many volunteers at work. This place can be recommended. Now, Johnny D visited in April of 2019. We came driving by car and saw the sign for this place. Turned in and stopped here to stretch my legs. Unfortunately, we were here on the wrong day and time because it wasn't open. These are the main 5 types you find in a Royal Dansk tin. Now, not all these tins are Royal Dansk. The one I have is a knockoff that I got at Walmart. There's a lot of pretenders to the throne, but the number 1 top seller, the big dog, the originator, had these 5 cookies. The circle one is called Vanilla Ring and has a vanilla flavor. The second one is the coconut flavored one. The third one is called Finnish style or Finnish bread style. Then we have the country style. Now, this is rarely in any of the imitation boxes. This one has little pieces of Belgian chocolate in it. Finally, my favorite, the pretzel style. And it's got those big pieces of sugar that look like salt until you put it into your mouth. Look at that tall drink of water. My goodness. We've never had one that big. So this is like a tiny one. The normal ones are probably about the size of a dinner plate. We've had ones that had 2 layers, but this one, my goodness. And they would always be in those like almost cupcake wrappers, and you'd have to take that out. So I remember at my grandma's house around Christmas time, you ate one and you emptied out that little cupcake wrapper. You'd take that out and throw that away. So what we would do then is just rearrange the cookies so there was one on each because we were so lazy. So we've talked about other brands. I want to focus on this brand because it is one that's popular in Denmark. It's called Mermaid Cookies. Now the reason is Hans Christian Andersen and his Little Mermaid. This is the Little Mermaid that they have on the outside of the package. This is based on a very famous tourist attraction in Denmark. When I first saw it, it reminded me of the Little Mermaid statue that is outside of Walt Disney's grave at Forest Lawn in California. Now here is the statue that's in Copenhagen. It's beautiful, it's bronze, and it's been there for 100 years. Look at that tall drink of water. That is Edvard Eriksson. He is the sculptor of this Little Mermaid statue. He was paid to do it by a man named Carl Jacobsen. Now, Carl's father had founded Carlsberg Beer. This is Ellen Price. She was a famous actress in Denmark in 1909. In fact, she had done a ballet as the Little Mermaid. And so she was chosen to be the model for this Little Mermaid statue. But there was a problem. Edvard wanted to sculpt her in the nude, meaning that she would be nude, not him.
Look, buddy, I don't take my clothes off for anyone, even if it is artistic.
She said, no, I don't want to pose nude for this. So he said, okay, I'll sculpt your head and put it on a different body. And so he had his wife pose for the body. In 1964, a group of politically motivated artists led by Jorgen Nash cut the head off the statue. The statue's head was never recovered, so they had to get a new artist to sculpt a replica of the head and attach it to the statue. The statue has been vandalized many times. In the year 2020, after the death of George Floyd, someone painted the words racist fish on the rock below the statue. The statue is covered by copyright until the year 2030, which will be 70 years after the death of the sculptor. Because of this, the Danish Wikipedia page actually blocks the statue out completely. Edvard Eriksson's descendants own the copyright to the statue, and they protect it a lot. They've taken people to court for drawing cartoons of it in newspapers and for creating replicas of it. If you want to create a replica, you have to pay them a fee. In 1994, the city of Greenville, Michigan decided to create their own version of the Little Mermaid statue to celebrate the Danish heritage of many of the people from that area. They had a statue commissioned for the cost of $10,000. They were then contacted by Eriksson's family, who demanded $3,900 as a licensing fee for the statue. The city claimed that this statue was different, citing the statue had a different head and larger breasts.
These were real hooters.
The claim was then dropped by the Eriksson family. You can see the statue in the game Where in Europe is Carmen Sandiego. All right. Let's climb up out of that rabbit hole and get back to the cookie tin. So someone has made a miniature cookie tin, and inside is a lip balm in the shape of a sewing kit. So until you press it on your lips, you can see the scissors and the spool of thread. There is a company in Denmark that sells dividers that you can buy and put inside of your cookie tin. I love this. This is a Halloween costume. This woman was a cookie tin sewing kit. Reusing containers happens everywhere. In the United States, people were very fond of using the Legs pantyhose eggs to hold rubber bands or paper clips or a number of other things. The story behind Legs pantyhose is pretty fascinating. At that time, pantyhose were only sold in department stores, and so they wanted a point of purchase item that could be sold at a drugstore or a supermarket, and they came up with the idea of putting an L at the beginning of egg and putting the pantyhose inside of an egg. It's a great story. It's got a lot of ins and outs. Plenty of celebrities were involved in it. I dug deep into it. I'm going to put that video right up here so you can check that out. Otherwise, YouTube says this is what is best for you. So who knows you better, me or YouTube? Doesn't matter to me. I'll see you back here tomorrow at 2 o'clock.